It was someone that told me that, I
see your name signed. You signed in almost around the time I signed this. I saw your name.
Yeah, but VVIP, the level is different.
And I was like, I it's YK there. Maybe
but the level is different.
She's in the VVIP.
Well, you had fun, YK.
I did.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the movie?
Yes, I did. I did. Very much.
Okay, let's go on a break. When we return, look at the top stories in the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the punch. 2023 Tinubu Osinbajo groups clash. Aregbesola may back VP. Picture here of Ogun Customs sees 102 million naira worth of marijuana and NDLA CND LEA 6 help. Osun soldiers arrested for torturing, forcing man to eat vomit. Osinachi police transfer case minister. Scan youth demand justice. MC Lomo's boys tricycle members clash over park and ticket sales. Lagos youth kills girlfriend, sleeps with cop 6 days. No resumption without meeting our demands, ASU tells FG. Train attack, terrorists demand 16 detained commanders, exchange for over 100 abductees. Okay.
Which of the human interests are you taking, Mike?
Yeah, I was taking the Ebonyi, the cops, the Ifeanyi Njoku that slept with he killed his girlfriend. He had brought his girlfriend in from the village, and the ritualist had told him to kill her and sleep with her corpse for 7 days. But on the 6th day, the smell emanating from his apartment was
too much.
So they called the estate people to look in. So when they got to his house, they found her body. He had been sleeping with her for 6 days.
Oh, my Lord.
And,
for money.
And he was trying to cover up the case now.
Yeah, he offered them 6 million. So obviously he was doing something that he had money. I don't know, because 6 million is not small.
Yeah. So he wanted more money.
Oh my Lord.
He offered them money to quell the case.
This is really
what people are willing to do.
It's painful. There's another human interest story. So Osun State Police Command on Monday said that the military police from Ibadan, Oyo State, have been arrested. This had to do with the killing of a businessman, Adeyinka Adekunle, at the Army Barracks. So what happened was that this particular Adeyinka and his friend went to have a drink in like a beer parlor, and these 3 soldiers came without their uniforms and asked them to buy them drinks, and they refused. They said, we are here to enjoy ourselves. We're not buying for you guys. Only for them to start beating them. They took them to the station, to their barracks. They, put them. They gave them.
They even took only one first.
Yes, first. So when the second one went the next day to, at least because they took their car as well to get the car out and get the friend out. They now put that one in. They said that they made them eat vomit. So on this particular day, while they were clearing grass, one of them was so weak and then fell down. It was after they started confessing that he actually... And so what he did was, after they had died, this particular soldier took the corpse to the morgue and was requesting that he's allowed to be put in the morgue. But the police commander did not know what happened, so probably felt it was one of his colleagues he was putting in the morgue. It was later they realized what has happened. So people are asking, I think the sister is also asking for justice. Justice has to be done. He has died now. His car is confiscated. His father, his family members are asking for justice.
So apparently we're building a better relationship with the EU. So the EU paid a courtesy visit. The EU ambassador to Nigeria, Samuela Isopi, spoke on behalf of the EU, and based on the current geopolitical situation in Europe, Nigeria is the fourth highest supplier of gas to EU and to Europe generally, and he's saying that 40% of Nigerian gas is currently exported to EU and that we have a very good relationship and that there will be demand for more. I'm just wondering how we're taking advantage of this. He said the NNPC should increase the gas supply. I'm wondering if this would increase our income. I'm wondering if this would if this would not cost us, because we also have issues with gas within our local country. I mean, within Nigeria, most of our power is supplied by gas turbine. And then I also took the story of the gas issue, power issue we're having, grid shutting down is because of supply. So I'm wondering, this our friendship with EU, is it to our advantage or to our disadvantage? Let's just look through it properly before signing anything again.
So I have 2 stories. The Osinachi, so the update, obviously, we knew that she was... Her husband was arrested, but what actually happened was that the Osinachi's younger brother was the one that took the case to the reported the case to the police, who then have arrested and taken the case has been transferred from Lube police station to the CID, that's the investigative. So for further investigation, we're hoping that this investigation goes without any kind of hindrance. And the Minister of Women Affairs and was also in their house to pay a condolence visit and also assured Nigerians that this matter will definitely be seen to a logical conclusion. And that interesting story was NDLEA. So what happened was that the Customs Service seized marijuana worth 102 million naira at the ports, and they've handed this amounts. These all the items to the NDLEA, the commander Ishaku Kwajafa in the state capital, in Abeokuta. And according to them, they also got about 319 sacks and over 500 wraps of marijuana. And I'm trying to see, there was something else they got. I can't find it here. Coconut, there's something, I'm trying to find the cannabis. There was something else I thought was really interesting. But I'm happy that there's synergy between the Customs Service and the NDLEA, which is crucial.
They're working together.
They are the ones that are working together. So once there's a synergy between these two agencies, we can see that indeed that there'll be more of this arrest of all these illicit drugs in our country.
Please let me take the story of the power grid shutdown, because the current power grid that shut down on Friday and Saturday is being blamed at us citizens and what we are doing. Nigerians are sabotaging the infrastructure of the distribution, the generating companies and the distribution channels, and they're saying that if you see anybody destroying or vandalizing properties belonging to the power companies, we must speak up that the power companies are doing their best to beef up the security infrastructure, but the announcement is that we need to take care of ourselves, we need to protect ourselves, and we need to protect our own infrastructure. It costs a lot of money to set up these power stations, and the particular one that shut down was Ecotech Mende Calabar 330 kV tower, and it is because we citizens of Nigeria compromised and stole our own power infrastructure. But the ones doing these things now, at least this one is blamed. The blame comes to us.
Okay, let's move on quickly.
That's after how many weeks is us that they want to blame.
Let's move on quickly to the nation.
This one, Sha.
Tinubu rallies governors in mission for APC ticket. MTN Nigeria gets approval for Momo Bank. 68 kidnapped train victims in Niger terrorist camp. Mass burial for 80 Plateau residents killed by bandits. EU envoys seek gas supply from Nigeria. Nigeria gets 3 million doses of J&J vaccine from Italy. And our government killed Osun APC council chair by son. Okay,
let me take the COVID. Yeah, so the federal government yesterday said they received over 3 million doses of single-shot Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines from Italy. The donation by the government of Italy brings the total number of vaccines doses to Nigeria by the European Union to about 20 million vaccines. And now they are saying that we have enough vaccines that will cover everybody in the country. And they are assuring Nigerians 18 years and above, including expectant mothers, to take advantage of the availability of the vaccines that we have and get vaccinated. So they said, as at April 11th, the country has fully vaccinated 30 million persons, which we've had 23 million persons who have already taken the first dose. That gives us about 18% of the total population that has been vaccinated. So I remember that while we're going on the trips, once you have your vaccination card, you're not even allowed or asked to present your COVID-19 results for the test. So I think we all need to get vaccinated and take our second doses.
Yeah, I wanted to take the story of the kidnapped victims that was in all the papers, but they're all different stories. This one was the terrorists, through the Al-Hassan that was released, had heard what happened to them. After they were kidnapped, they were taken in cars to a certain spot where they were made to walk for 5 days. Said they would stop for a little while, then they would say, oh yeah, get, and then make them walk till they came to a big camp. A big camp of theirs, they called it Rigasa. Rigasa, Kaduna State. No, sorry, from Rigasa to Niger State. They walked from Rigasa to Niger State, and then they were there suffering. Yeah, but in other papers, it also said they had come on some of the victims. The terrorists have put them on the videos. There are videos of them saying, "Please help us." Where they brought doctors to treat them, to treat some of them that were injured. They're just begging the government, and also one more thing: they want their people released.
Yeah, 16 commanders.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of the conditions for
that
their
they are
release.
given.
Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Still reviewing the nation. So the major headline is Asiwaju. After the Vice President's declaration yesterday, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu met with 16 other governors to rally their support for him. According to him, he says, "My mission here is to seek collaboration, support, and encouragement for my party, the APC, for my ambition to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to succeed Muhammadu Buhari." And the governor, after the meeting, he was asked that he heard that his son declared. He said he has no son. I think what he meant to say, he had no biological son, which is grown enough to become president. But the party, on the other hand, the chairman of the party is yet to release a timetable. And according to him, he went to see the president, asking that he needs more time to do some cleanup within the party before they can now put together a committee who then would prepare a proposal for the proper timetable, so we know exactly when they're going to do the do the primaries and then have their flag bearer for the APC. Everybody's waiting because now even Amechi has also declared last weekend.
Yeah.
Vice President has declared.
I'm declaring too.
Mike, I think you should declare.
Everybody should declare. It's a declaration.
They say he might declare any moment from now, so we are waiting. Let them all declare.
That one is definitely going to declare because you see, I don't even understand this cloak and dagger that they're all using. That let me concentrate on my job. No,
2 days later you're not here.
They declare. I say myself.
I think they're forcing them to declare.
Thank you, Joseph.
All my people, my supporters
are the ones asking me.
Let's move on to Vanguard. We don't have time. 2023, there may be no elections if, says Khan, Sultan, Ohaneze, and others. 2023, I have no grown son for presidency, says Tinubu. Don't jettison zoning, Southern Middle Belt leaders warn PDP. NURTW crisis, 3 dead, many injured as Olomo's men take over motor parks in Lagos. 94 killed by terrorists, assassins, and Plateau, Kaduna, Osho in 24 hours. Why Deeper Life embrace use of TV and social media, says Pastor Kumuyi. Nigeria has resources to foremost black nation on earth, says Osinbajo. Okay, which story are we taking?
NURTW. So, it's no news that the NURTW National Chapter dissolved the Lagos chapter and installed a secretary, Sheyi, as the head of NURTW in Lagos. However, Lagos State government had already come up with a parks management committee, and this is supposed to handle all the parks, very similar to what they've done in Oyo and a few other states that have dissolved NURTW within their states. So now the PMC, Park Manager Committee, went to take ownership of the parks, and violence ensued. According to the report, 3 people died, many were injured, a lot of properties were vandalized. The police, however, said that nobody died. The police public relations officer, SP Benjamin Ohundeyin, says that nobody died, no life was lost, no arrest was made. For me, that was a major concern because you cannot watch the pictures of what happened. Why shouldn't we arrest people?
Anybody, yeah.
If somebody goes to vandalize, somebody goes to hit someone, if there's a clash, arrest must be made because it is justice that will reduce the reoccurrence of these people taking law into their hands. Even the hooded men, they were hooded and went into a place and were attacking. Yeah. They should be arrested.
Yeah. So they were
and apparently they were also protesting. They had signage saying
They don't want MC Oluomo.
the governor should avoid crisis and. You know,
so that's fighting back. So the state has already said that no more part of any RTW, but they will still probably have some members of their chapters within the states who also resist this new management. So maybe that's what happened, but I think there should be arrest made.
Yes, so eminent Nigerians, including the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Samson Ayokunle, the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, they are warning, and they spoke at the Inclusive Security Dialogue Retreat, jointly organized by the Global Peace Foundation and Vision Africa in Abuja, warning that because of the widespread insecurity in the nation, we may not have a 2023 election. And they are saying that what Nigeria needs to do right now, what the presidency needs to do is to ensure that they curb the insecurity issues so that we can have what to look forward to in 2023. If we keep going like this, we may not even have any form of elections at all. And they are also saying that with this new election that everybody is looking forward to, it's time that we talk to the 6 geopolitical zones, bring them to a round table, ensure that everybody is represented, and that way Nigerians will feel at peace and be able to elect the person they want who would, take over the mantle of leadership. And insecurity is a major problem that we're having right now. We cannot ignore it and wait for 2023 election. It's going to be bloody, basically.
So for those of you who grew up in the 80s, you know how we're so scared of watching TV. For those of you that went to the Deeper Life Church.
Did you go?
Watch TV, was the devil
Did you
and all
go?
That. I think it was Deeper Life, but I mean, I heard about they used to wear scarf and everything.
Actually attended a few Deeper Life
Pastor
programs
Kume
at the
has
camp.
told us why. He said that the church cannot sit back watching wicked people use technology to propagate their own agenda. Hence, the need for the church to wake up and use technology to take on the gospel. So,
and they agreed they are joining late. I read it. He said he agreed he was joining late, but. No. They are not on Facebook. They were not on all those social media.
The members were secretly joining anyway.
That evil was thriving there. And if evil is going to be using those platforms, then they must really go into it. And I think that is just...
I'm happy for them.
It's just common sense.
It's about time.
Okay, Daily Sun, very quickly, 2023. Presidency, Osinbajo reveals plan to tackle insecurity. Tinubu meets APC governors. Bloody day as bandits kill 78 in 5 Plateau villages. Sit at home, gunmen strike, kill 1, burn bus in Enugu. Kaduna train attack, negotiate with kidnappers' families of abductees, beg federal government. I'll tackle insecurity, transform economy if elected president, says Wike. Picture here of participants at the International Teachers Conference in Lagos. And 3 feared dead as NURT factions clash in Lagos. Okay, which story are we taking?
Yes, so government again has started enforcing the Monday sit at home. And yesterday they said they killed an unidentified male traveler around Chris Chemist roundabout Enugu. And they set another commercial Sienna vehicle that was loading at the park on fire. So the driver of the Sienna was able to escape, and so he narrated what happened. He said he came that early morning so that he can take passengers before the sit-at-home starts. All of a sudden, a bus came in with a lot of hoodlums, and then they came out. They were shooting sporadically into the air. So he ran. He thought they were kidnappers, and then he ran away. Before he turned, he just saw that they had touched his vehicle.
Wow.
It was, on fire.
Doing this to each other?
And somebody who was just a passerby, an innocent human being, they don't have his name yet, was killed and shot. By the time they took him to the hospital, they couldn't make it. And so he's trying to understand why they are still enforcing the sit at home over and over. I think the government needs to step up and do something about this. They had said the sit at home was to have ended by now so that, the people in that area can go around their businesses while they're still waiting for court to release their leader.
So Governor Wike has vowed to tackle... You have the other story?
No. Okay. It's another one.
Governor Wike has vowed to tackle the issue of insecurity and economy in Nigeria if elected president. He was lobbying with his colleagues, PDP, in Yobe State, Maiduguri, Borno, and one other state in the north yesterday. And I was saying that he came there because he needed their support. Obviously, he's concerned, like every other Nigerian, about the problems Nigeria is dying, and that he came as a member of PDP, and he wants the party to support him at the PDP platform. He said he came because I feel concerned. I came because I have no other country to run to, and therefore I have come off to offer myself to solve most of the problems that the APC administration could not solve. Before, people used to talk about insecurity in Borno, but now it's all over the country, and he believes he has the answer to the problem of insecurity in our country.
Sadly, 78 people were killed, and several others were injured in a bandit attack in Plateau State. And the incident occurred on Sunday afternoon, said for several hours, leaving women and children displaced from the communities. We've been hearing these attacks over and over again, especially within this within Plateau State. Actually, it happens everywhere. Like Borno, the person that declared said, I just feel that a whole lot needs to be done. It's tiring to read these things every day and be saying these people died and that people died.
It's all a whole lot needs to be done.
What do you want us to say?
I was just going to talk about the APC Benga Ogbara that was killed. There are the two papers I read had different stories. This one was the story by the son. His son said the men came to the gate, they knocked on the gate and they asked for him. He came out, saw them, sensed danger and ran. As he ran, they shot and killed him. Him and his mother were coming in and they shot at their own vehicle, so he was injured in his eye. Gun went through his eye. And they are in an undisclosed hospital receiving treatment. The governor has said they should please find the killers.
See, we're not praying. It's not a prayer for peace. It's they said the pre-election committee for peace must get everybody to sign a peace agreement now. But we are the ones causing the problem. The sit at home is being enforced by Nigerians, who are allowing themselves to injure other Nigerians and make other Nigerians suffer. We must stop this and tell ourselves the truth. It's not a government decision alone, because government cannot. How many police officers will government employ to secure everybody? If we don't take responsibility for ourselves,
reflection. Look at yourself in the mirror, and you will get the result.
That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, the hottest topic, political issue in Nigeria, is Vice President Osinbajo's declaration. What are your thoughts on his? Call us after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before we go into the conversation about Professor Osinbajo, the Vice President's declaration, there's another hot story that came out in the last 24 hours about the new video that came up on the Obiano versus Bianca issue. And the reason why it was important for us to bring it, because when the video was initially released, nobody actually saw the slap. And there were speculations that was it right, was it wrong, the back and forth. And we had that conversation extensively on this show. But now that a new angle has come about, it's only right for us to bring it up again and say, okay, was Bianca's response appropriate at this point? Let me come to Mikey.
You know my answer, because I've been saying it. Even on YouTube, they used to abuse me. Why am I advocating violence? As if they will sit down to collect that kind of slap from, because it was the woman, Ebele, that went to
look for trouble.
To look for trouble. She walked out from her seat where they put her. As she come with them, she waka. The person when they even video.
Like his
walk. Wait, the person that was videoing was looking. Saw her, so follow the waka with the video. She now came. First pushed the woman in the shoulder.
Yes, so then touch this headgear.
Then used the fan to hit the
headgear.
No, it was a tap.
Tap.
It was a tap.
Excuse me?
But you see, the problem is that, listen, in a more...
She didn't end there. She started, you bitch. You,
on TV, but you can
sorry, I'm sorry. We are not supposed to use it on TV.
No, you're not supposed to use that.
Don't give me letter. It's just the...
So she used the B word.
YK feels like...
vindicated.
Like Obiano deserved what happened to her. Seeing that perspective of the video, because that was a different angle, we didn't really... what we just saw was there was an attack, vice versa. We know that somebody walked to provoke another person. Right. That was clear. And I still stand by my own thought that even if you're provoked, you should not react.
Yes. The fact
that they touch you, they push you, and you don't react, puts you on a higher level. And there are legal ways you can, she can then say, this person entered my personal space and provoked me, and I can take you to court. It's a civil matter, they settle it. So I think that we must learn to deal with things in a more civilized manner than just feeling like, oh, I've been provoked, I'm going to Will Smith you, I will Bianca you, and everybody just... that's my own opinion, and I still stand by it.
This is your higher level. Who defined it? Who gave us this higher level? Whose standard is this higher level? Please. When I saw that video, that slap was not commensurate to the provocation. That slap, I did not feel the order. I did not get it. It seemed like, it was just, that slap would have landed in a way that when you see it, you feel joy. Because I always say this, we are not going to take out the provocation and handle the reaction. We will start from the beginning. Yes, so no matter how upset you are, hold yourself from provoking somebody and deal with it well, like a civilized human being. You can have a talk later. You can send a message. You can send a letter. You can get people to come and, liaise between both of you and settle like civil people. But if you decide to provoke as an uncivilized person, anything you get, you collect.
Okay, well, the only grouse is the fact that now this woman is running for office. So in actual fact, she lied.
Yeah.
Remember, she said, I went there to greet her.
Yeah.
So the video now says that you are a liar and you're running for Senate. So that in itself is something that people say, okay, can I trust you to go to Senate?
But if
you can actually lie.
That catwalk did not show that she went to greet. We're telling you here.
Yes, now.
That the way that
so we
happened.
gave benefit of doubt. And I always believe it is important to give benefit of doubt.
Exactly.
You don't see the waka?
And we've seen now that what she did was, we knew she was provocative, but now we've seen the extent of how much she provoked. But I'll always still say that the higher ground, and the reason we do that is because there is no justification. You don't know how far your reaction will go. I don't know the cost. Will Smith is a practical example. No, he lost his seat at the Oscars. Number one. Number two, he's banned from Oscar for the next 10 years. There is repercussion for what you do. Now, Obiano is getting her own repercussion now. Because right now she's contesting for office, and we've seen that, one, you lied, ma. Obviously,
in Nigeria, nothing will happen.
It doesn't matter. We know you lied. We also know that you were provocative. We also know that you use bad language. So we know the kind of person that you are. Sleep with it.
She will win the election.
Excuse me. Don't forget, Will Smith was the provocateur. It wasn't Chris Rock.
No, Chris Rock provoked. With
no.
It was words.
He made a joke. That joke. Listen,
that was provocative. Just to one person.
There's a possibility that he did not know that she was going through alopecia, because she had just announced like 2 days before.
No.
It's not everybody. She had just announced. Go and Google it and find out. But I don't even want to talk about Will Smith. They're not my business. Those ones are not my business. It's our own. Tokpe, I put it to you that if you are provoked, all this one you are doing, you are just screwing show for TV.
It's
for TV. If they provoke you,
you know that's not true. That's not true.
Tokpe would not.
Why can't you know me? That's not true.
Tokpe would not. I would not.
That's not true. So I'm not speaking. I'm not doing show for show. On this place, we speak our mind as we are.
Okay, let's go on.
Found joy.
Let's go. So that is all we can take on that. I just wanted us to throw it because I knew that YK would not let me sleep if I don't handle this thing. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss Professor Yemi Osinbajo's declaration. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So yesterday, Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo declared his intention to run for the office of President in 2023 general elections. During his declaration speech, he made many promises to Nigerians, which he promised he would fulfill if allowed to lead the country. However, some Nigerians are reacting to this, saying he failed as a vice president. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Is he competent enough to take on this role? You can call us on the numbers available, 08127053687, 09139076994. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourView TVC so we can read your tweets. Okay, so since yesterday, everybody's been talking about different angles. You know, there's an angle of oh, he's been in the system. There's an angle of he betrayed his godfather or his principal. There's another angle of he doesn't have the political structure. Others are saying that they observed that he's only anchoring on President Muhammadu Buhari. Because if you recall, during the convention, he kept referencing the good works of Buhari, the good of President Buhari, his leader, his this. He came back, even in the speech, declaration speech, almost every other sentence was praising the current administration. You're thinking, okay, so this man is obviously your life support in this campaign. So what are your thoughts on this, on his declaration? And do you think that, do you agree with those who are saying that he may have betrayed his godfather or his principal, the person who even orchestrated his being the vice president?
Okay.
Okay.
I remember the colloquium that we attended years back. I think before he was vice president. Was he vice president then? I think it was before. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe it was before or when he was vice president. And I heard Professor Yemi Osinbajo speak about how he was a professor in school and how, while he was in school, having no connection to Asiwaju said he was looking for competent hands to chart the course for Lagos State and implement the vision he had for Lagos State, and called him and sold the idea to him, and he stepped out of being a professor to join the then administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for Lagos State, and how he extols the leadership of Asiwaju, and obviously that's someone who respects his principle. For many, pre this election, I've been hearing local clamor saying that no, he will not contest, he cannot do this against his principle has already declared. And I was of the opinion that Vice President is too loyal. He will not come out and declare without maybe like Asiwaju raising his hand. So politics has happened, and I was shocked, I must admit. When I heard it, I said it's a lie. You really said there's a video.
With his mouth. That was with his mouth?
With his mouth. I was like, no, I cannot believe this. So I'm one of those that felt like, no, this somehow.
But is it his constitutional right to do so?
Obviously, yes, it's legally he has a right to go through his aspiration. He's a Nigerian. He's a man I respect. He's a man that I feel has the competence to lead our country as well, amongst the many who have declared. And I feel he's throwing himself into the ring. The question is, did I feel funny about the loyalty and all of that? With those that felt that way, I agree. I felt a bit uncomfortable with the fact that he declared the way he did, knowing that his principle was already in the ring.
So for me, loyalty wasn't what I was looking at. I'm looking at the fact that we have a problem in the country and we need competent hands to take us out of the quagmire that's is bedeviling everything and everyone in the country.
Agree.
So it's not about, because what I see with politicians is the fact that everybody wants to be loyal to my sponsor, loyal to my godfather, politics of godfatherism. If they say, no, don't come out, it's not your time, allow me first, then I will hand you some crumbs later on, and everybody just sits down. We need Nigerians who will say, I can fix this problem. Identify problems and say, I can do this, I can do that in my capacity. I have a track record. I have done this, I've done that. A lot of people also questioned and said that it was more like him reading out his CV. You know, he kept mentioning this, that he did not tell us exactly what he wants to do, how he wants to do it. We've had people who told us exactly what they wanted to do, how they wanted to do it, and today they have not done it. So for me, it's about looking at the action more than the words. This man has been in this position, and people who say he has failed as vice president, I think that is very unfair to him. You cannot usurp the power of your president. You have to take orders. You are working, there's a captain, there's a co-captain, you must work in that order. The few times that the president was not around and he took over, we saw things moved, we saw action, sharp, and we know that this man can hold his own when given that opportunity.
Some might argue that he was also practically in charge of the economy. And they can argue that we've seen how trader money went up, because people are still arguing and saying that how successful was trader money? You know, how has it really championed the lifting of our economy to be more profitable for Nigerians? Those are questions I'm still asking. Well, but you're right. You can't do past what the president instructs you to do. So yes, there's only so much he could do. But Mike, let me come. What are your initial thoughts on this? What came to mind when he?
You see, I was one of those arguing vehemently. Like day,
he can't come out.
Like day, he can never come out. When his Oga has come out, like day. You see, when they announce it like this, I see. Really?
Everybody rock a leg. Everybody rock a leg.
Shocking.
Practically, everybody rock a, because they were shocked.
You know how you want to hide yourself? Because I say, even here, I argued. I've been arguing. Only
for you to now see the video of him speaking himself.
by himself, not that another
But there's
person.
an angle that we've not talked about, because Ashwaji met with 16 governors.
Yeah.
Now, there's something about loyalty. If one person can come across as disloyal to somebody who practically raised him and brought him into politics, do you think the governors can trust him? Because he approached about 10 governors and told them that I would like to, during the break of their fast, and told them that, listen, I'm trying to run for president, I need your support. So can these governors trust a vice president who in himself has been disloyal to one of the key people expected him not to be disloyal to? Can they trust him if he becomes president, indeed, to do what he says he will do for them or for their states when he becomes president?
So, Moriah, we're judging loyalty. We're judging loyalty based on his declaration for presidency. I don't think that's a fair way to judge. I was shocked by his declaration. I do not judge him as a disloyal person because I do not know the private conversation he and his principals must have had, because the conversation of him contesting had been on since last year. But posters had been on everywhere, and he refrained from coming out. So because I do not know the private dealings, so we shouldn't do lip service or use social media to judge the loyalty of one person. That's my first opinion. On the other hand is the fact that over many Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has gone through a lot of political turmoil in the past few years. Like, there's been a lot that's happened to him politically, and some people have kept mute, deliberately kept mute in a way that it looks politically shady. And this particular VP has maintained a good relationship consistently with his principal. So I'm not going to judge loyalty until I hear clearly from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that this person has betrayed me. I will not do anything with him again.
There are some things we need to change if Nigeria has to move forward. Loyalty to who? To your principal or to the interest of the country that you are there to serve? Who are you loyal to? It's not anybody's father's house that will now be sharing, you come out today, you wait tomorrow, I'll give you this. We need to come out of it. That's why we're saying we need a lot of new people, young people who do not have that mindset of, I have to constantly wait on somebody else to hand me the cake or say go or wait or stay back. We need to move out of that and move into the fact that we need to take Nigeria forward. It seems like we go one step forward, 15 steps backwards. We can't keep doing this. So this is not loyalty for me. If you're competent enough and you come out there, forget it. We're going to be behind you.
It's not even we need to take Nigeria forward. We need to take Nigeria back from them. Give us Nigeria. True. You people, sit down, you have had your turn. Let new people come in. And let us see.
Fresh minds.
Fresh minds, fresh body.
But don't we celebrate? But shouldn't we celebrate that there's democracy happening in APC? At least we're seeing that everybody seems to be coming forward.
Yes.
So if we're saying that democracy is not working, maybe this is another indication that, listen,
for me to join APC.
Okay, please declare. We'll happen
to. I need to go join APC quickly and declare.
This is also the demonstration that democracy is working within the party. Now, it's the onus is now on the chairman of the NWC to ensure that proper internal democracy is done to get that final ticket. Because if indeed Asiwaju is a progressive, as he has always shown he is, if there's a point where Asiwaju now is okay, well, let us look at this thing together. Because we many believe he's a progressive. He will do the needful. Whatever the needful is, we don't know.
Whether it's to step down or not.
Whenever that time comes, he will do. But because his interest is in Nigeria, not so much of his personal. Yes, he says his personal ambition. But if we see him as a progressive, then we can say, okay, let's put the chips are down. Who are we going to pick? But my only worry is the fact that this is going to throw off a lot of political calculations, and people are just confused at this time. They're not sure where to go. There's a lot of confusion.
I feel that Asiwaju has put this ambition on the. It's an ambition. It's a long-term ambition. It's similar to the way our current president had always wanted to become the president. It's similar to Atiku's obvious ambition for that seat. So, at the end of the day, as a Nigerian feeling the pinch of our collapsing economy, lack of security, the hardship, the inflation. I really don't want politics as much as I want competent hands to manage the affairs of this country that would move, someone whose heart would truly move Nigeria
Now, let's
forward.
talk about competence for a moment. So let's pack loyalty. We're done with talking about loyalty.
Okay.
Competence. Now, some may argue that our current vice president may not have the stamina, the structure, or even the ability to reach certain areas. Although he said it in his speech that he has been to every single local government within the country.
So
going there doesn't make you connect necessarily. So some might argue that does he have the competence? Yes, maybe book-wise. Maybe that's why Asiwaju brought him in the first place, because he's smart, he's a professor, he's intelligent, definitely. But when it comes to strategy, when it comes to understanding what to do to bring Nigeria out of this hole that we're in, is he the right person that can actually bring Nigeria? We'll discuss that after this break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, we're talking about
Capacity.
competence. So we discussed the vice president's competence versus Asiwaju's, because many of us know how Asiwaju took Lagos State from where it was before to where it is today. Because even I was even reading the other time that the blue line, the Atlantic, these are all documented since Asiwaju's time. This is somebody has seen 25 years ahead during this period. So we have seen his track record, taken from revenue 600 million to 10 billion within his own period. Now Lagos is only almost 40 billion a month, based on a blueprint somebody. So we have seen competence. Now, this is somebody who has worked under Buhari's government, that many have said that they didn't allow this man to fly. So we didn't see you really fly. So how can we now believe indeed that you can actually take this whole country out of what it is today?
But in fairness to him, I think that time he was allowed to run the government for a few weeks. Was it like 3 months?
Yes.
Just that one time.
Yes.
People saw a change.
Yeah,
It was different.
It was different. Yeah. And when his principle, that's his principle, not
Asiwaju, yes.
That is his real principle, came back. They just overturned a lot of what he did, and just it seemed to us that he was now
so if a VP is coward, then with the presidency, this cabal, this strong cabal, how they were able to cower him as a VP, do you think they still won't have that kind of influence? Do you think he'll be strong enough, therefore, to run this country, even with this cabal that we all don't even know who this cabal is?
He should, if he was president, because he could as vice president at that time. He hasn't been able to. We haven't really seen his magic
after that one.
After that first
because
7
they
years
broke his wings.
Yes, no. So you don't know whether he has gone to repair the wings now.
Oh, no. But
let me say that when it comes to politics, you can look at the track record of certain people, but aside from the track record, I think is your ability to take the pulse of the people is what we should be looking out for. Your ability to listen to the needs. What we hear most of the time, what we see is more table achievements. We've done this, we've done that, we've done this, documented. But when you ask the people, how has this documentation, how has this table, progress, how has it affected you personally as a businessman, as a student? We need to take the pulse of the people, and we need to be looking at the person who seems to be able to listen. It's all about listening. Listen to the people and say, okay, these policies that we have on ground, they're not working for our people. Why don't we change it? How do we find those people who can listen? It's not about the track record of what you have done in the past. It's about, are you willing to listen to the cries of that little child who is out of school for years and has no hope for tomorrow?
So if Osinbajo has listened, would he therefore say that he will continue what Buhari has started? Because that's what people are saying. People are saying, uncle, what has Buhari done so far? Because yes,
That you want to continue.
We know he has invested in infrastructure, he has invested in agriculture, but the average Nigerian on the street is saying, this Buhari government hasn't really done much.
Yeah.
So if you now come and declare and say, I will continue for me, what you're telling
you did not
Nigerians,
listen.
this leper matter will continue.
I'm a fan of the vice president. I love the way he speaks.
Yeah.
You know,
I thought his speech was brilliant.
Oh no, and I feel that many
I think he has watched Obama's videos back to back. Like he has.
I know.
Of course.
What I like is charisma. I like the fact that he can engender hope in Nigerians. And one of the things that is lost, seemingly,
we don't need hope now. We need action.
Yes, we need action, but we also need hope. Before it was the poor that was checking out, the hopeless checking out. Now the middle class, the rich checking out of the country.
Yes.
We have a huge crisis on our hands.
Right.
We need action as well as someone that would inspire hope in Nigerians to continue pushing
Be soothing.
Yeah.
When you
We have
speak,
to wrap up
everybody
on this.
wants to
I think
listen.
as I wrap up on this segment, I think what's most important is that Adamu, the new NWC chairman, ensures that there's internal democracy to
Yes,
carry
let the vote count.
let there be primaries. Let there be proper primaries where people select who the candidates would be for these parties, so that we know for APC and also for PDP.
Yeah.
Let us see internal democracy across the parties, so that at the end of May, hopefully by then, we'll know who
They will
our
give
flag
us the
bearers
best.
can.
Can they just try an Igbo president for once?
Wike has been telling them. Wike is also he's also contending. So we'll see.
That is my...
We
Those,
can
please.
Peter Obi as well.
I love Peter Obi.
Peter Obi is
And
also in
there's
the
Kingsley Moghalu.
Yeah.
I mean, there are... Let's just even try for once.
And see.
Let's see Igbo Abi.
There you have it. That's all we can take on this segment. We wish all the parties the best luck as they go ahead. Let's go to a break. When we come back, the health sector in Lagos State. That's a crucial matter. Those of you that have gone to hospital and they're sending you back for one thing or the other, we have the Honorable Commissioner himself in the building. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So on Tuesdays, we talk about health. Joining us on the show is the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi. He'll be speaking on the state of health in Lagos healthcare system in the last 3 years of the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration. Welcome, sir, to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Morning.
Before we start our lamentations, because we have a lot of them, let me give you the floor to tell us some of the things you've done, especially with the Lagos State teaching hospitals, as regards equipment, staff, remodeling. What have you done so far? Give us a nutshell before we start telling you some of the issues. And the updates on coronavirus. Yes.
You still want to hear about Koro?
No, not really. Let's start with the hospitals, especially the Lagos teaching hospitals.
Okay, so I think when every government comes into their current dispensation, the first thing to do is to look at the landscape and to assess what's going on and then define a strategy moving forward. So we did quite a bit of work on that just before Corona came in. And even during the first phase of Corona, we're not totally distracted by Corona. So we had an opportunity to examine what the health-seeking behavior of Lagosians is or was, and what the trend is. And what we found was that, there's a tremendous utilization of what we would call grassroots health systems,
Okay.
like traditional medicine and herbalists and street vendors and pharmacies. We then looked at what we currently offer Lagosians in terms of health. And remember, we are the Ministry of Health, so we're the Ministry of Health for Health of Lagos State, which includes both public and private. We found that the infrastructure of the health system in the public sector was extremely deficient in terms of standards. We also realized that we were not using enough data health data, and there was very little research going on in Lagos State. The other thing we discovered was that the public-private partnership really was very weak, and that the private sector was proceeding along its own path, and the public sector was going in another path. Yes, our job as government is to form a synergy between the two, because 70% of Lagosians are seeking their health in the private sector, or even in the traditional African health systems. So there was a lot of work we had to do. Then we looked at what the human resources for health, what the state of the human resources for health was, and there's a lot of low morale in the health sector, the health professionals, with the typical expression that you've all heard, brain drain. So we tried to understand what are the catalysts and the accelerators of brain drain. And then, very importantly, health financing. So how do we pay for health in Lagos? So as a government, let's keep it very, high level. What does the government do? Government sets policy. Government ensures that we can implement and regulate those policies. Government sets a standard and a benchmark. Government is very important in terms of a public protector and creating social safety nets. And then possibly finally, you want to create an enabling environment for the private sector, which is the majority sector that is driving health delivery to your citizens. So we looked at all that and we went back to the drawing board and we started to design a strategy moving forward.
Okay, so let's start with the private sector, because the teaching hospitals will come back to that. We found that it seems that many of these private hospitals are not properly regulated. Many of them have dilapidated facilities. Many of them are not well equipped in the sense that they don't have everything within one hospital. So you have a condition, and they refer you to another hospital to do something else, to get one test here, you're going to do one thing there, and come back, it's just so hectic for us.
Yes.
What are you doing to regulate, to ensure that if we enter a private hospital in Lagos State, it has quite enough resources to accommodate Nigerians and all the basic needs that is required of them?
Yes, so that goes back to policy and regulation. So we have what we call the Health Sector Reform Law, which includes HEFAMA, which is the regulator of health in Lagos State. And HEFAMA goes out with a standard. So if a farmer, for example, is going to a IVF clinic or a fertility clinic, they go with a team of experts that form a subcommittee that advises a farmer on what to look for inside a specialty unit. If they're going to an orthopedic facility or a plastic surgery, they're going informed, with experts forming a subcommittee behind them to look for what they actually need when they get there. All right. So, of course, majority of health facilities are not specialists. So majority are either family practitioners or just general surgery or general medical facilities. Now, there are at least 4,000 private sector facilities that we know of, compared to only about 400 government facilities. So there's a 10-to-1 ratio. Right? And there are umpteen traditional medicine or alternative medicine or ancient medicine or cultural medicine practitioners in the state. So what we've done is we've really emboldened our traditional medicine board. When we came into this dispensation, there was no board. There was just a building, so we've set up the traditional medicine board because we want to seriously understand what Lagosians are doing when they go to these health traditional sector. We want to regulate it. We want to bring them in. We want to make sure that, as what we say in medicine is, at least do no harm. If you can't do anything, if you can't do good, don't do any harm. So that's important, and that's what regulation does. We go out there to make sure that health practitioners are not causing harm, whether they are in the conventional system or they're in the alternative system. we need to be able to regulate that entire sector.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear about the traditional medicine, but because I know how doctors feel about traditional medicine healers, they don't believe in them really, and do you, and I know you're a doctor, how do you feel? Do you feel that they can actually heal?
So when we talk about alternative medicine, we're talking about a whole spectrum of things. We're talking about herbalists, acupuncturists, aromatherapists, traditional birth attendants, bone setters, psychologists, people that give counseling, divinators, and all that kind of thing. But, you know, it's there. Let's not fool ourselves that our people are not seeking health in this sector, you know. So it's very important that we understand what that sector is and that we regulate it and that we even, okay, so for example, malaria. Africa experienced chloroquine resistance. In other words, all the malaria we get in Africa, the drug we were using was chloroquine. And after a while, about 15 years ago, chloroquine stopped working. And thousands and millions of children were dying from chloroquine-resistant malaria. But guess what? There's a herbal plant in China called artemisinin. And we discovered that artemisinin can overcome the resistance of chloroquine malaria failure. So that is a herbalist plant. It's used in China for centuries. You know, so yes, it works. You know, we know that there are things out there that are useful. We know that a lot of penicillin came from the ecosystem. You know, a herbalist, somebody discovered it in the laboratory, that when you have a mold growing in a plate, the bacteria die. You know, so wow, there's something in here that's killing bacteria. That came from the environment. So our traditional ancient systems are not ignorant. They're very deep. If you go to China or India, you walk into a hospital and you'll find an alternative medicine practitioner operating right next to a conventional medicine practitioner, and sometimes they exchange ideas. You know, so, yes, your point is, you know, that as doctors we're a little bit snobbish of this sector. I won't argue with you because we're trained in one way and we think that our way is obviously
the best.
This evidence-based best. But what we're trying to do with the traditional board is understand them, make them safe, and you can also make traditional medicine evidence-based as well.
Go ahead. So I want to understand or help us understand the solutions that you've come up with concerning the brain drain. That's one.
Right.
And secondly, a lot of reasons why most people don't like to do the general hospitals is because it's very hectic. So if you need something in this department, you have to go down to the other department and start the queue all over again. Whereas there could be a system where your file is just sent in to that other place since you're still going to come back here. So it's you just see people going round and round and round. And I think about a few weeks ago, somebody was missing in a specialist hospital because he left to go and get drugs for the mom, and by the time he came, the mom had disappeared, and nobody there could say where this woman went. The woman was supposed to be in their care. What is what's the solution?
So you've asked about 5 questions, Obi, but they're all connected. So Mr. Governor, for example, understands the very dilapidated state of our medical infrastructure. So he gave me the mandate to develop what we call the blueprint for medical infrastructure transformation. So what we typically have is our general hospitals and our primary healthcare facilities are reconverted buildings. So they're barracks, schools, offices. And, you know, you don't practice modern medicine in a facility that's not designed for its function. So we've gone back to the drawing board. We're designing blueprints for primary, secondary, and specialist, right, including traditional medicine. So all that's been designed at the moment. We're done. We're building our first blueprint general hospital, which is the new Massey Street. We're going to roll out one at Ojo, one in Ibejuleki, and one at Shomolu, different sizes. Then for the primary healthcare, we've developed 3 prototypes: the very large flagship, the primary healthcare center, and the healthcare post. All very modern, attention to energy, attention to movement of patients, attention to movement of staff, natural cooling. They're all 50% low carbon because we all know that the price of energy is rising.
That's interesting. So you're going to pull down the current structures and rebuild that, and how long will that take?
Yeah, so where there's a space to put a brand new building, you know, because there's still a shortage, we will put in the new prototypes. Okay? Where we have an existing building, well, it's too expensive to just pull it down and build. We'll try and refurbish it, but there are some that are so bad that, you know, it's not worth putting the money into refurbishing. Then we'll just earmark that for demolition and put in a brand new.
Where will you find the doctors for all these hospitals?
Let me go on a break. When we come back, I'll let you answer that question. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the Commissioner for Health in the building, and I know before the break we discussed the brain drain, and YK had connected it to the fact that even when you build these new structures, how do you get the people to work in this, especially when they are traveling abroad?
Okay, so brain drain is a interesting phenomenon. So you have what we call the push and the pull factor. So in Nigeria, we have to take responsibility for the push factor. What are we doing to our health personnel that is encouraging them to leave the country? You know, and then there's the pull factor, which is the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Europe, America, their systems are well organized. They have this, that, and the other. They have light, you know, they have water, they have digital platforms, they have training programs. So yes, you know, I can't do anything about the pull factor. All I can do in Nigeria is minimize the push factor. So we look at brain drain and we say, okay, let's examine it. There's a lot of movement of medical personnel inside Nigeria. A lot of them are coming to Lagos to try for the last time to make something happen before they then leave Lagos for wherever.
Abroad.
So what we've discovered is when we put out adverts for doctors and nurses, we're overwhelmed with applications. And in fact, a lot of medical personnel are unemployed in Lagos. So there isn't actually a physical brain shortage in Lagos State. I can't speak for the rest of Nigeria because a lot of these doctors have come into Lagos. So there is an internal brain drain, and then there's the external brain drain where they use Lagos as the springboard to go abroad.
That's
Let me just quickly counter that a little bit because I'm a customer.
Yes.
I used to be a customer of General Hospital. If I still have any medical emergency, I would rather go to the public hospitals. And I interact with a lot of the doctors, and I will tell you that when they go, we might have a lot of non-employed doctors, and I mentioned that during the break because I have the data that I have a lot of correspondents that tell me that, but we don't replace them at a quick rate.
Yes.
So when someone has moved out, it might take months before the person gets replaced. So you might see a department where there were like 6 people, and now there are 2 people doing the work of 6, and they say, oh, we've passed the memo, we're waiting for them to recruit. Or they say that the government will do the recruitment, but the workload on those 2, huge, which reduces their own capacity to perform optimally.
Yes. So that was a thing that we've resolved. So it's called exit replacement. So there are 2 ways of engaging medical personnel. So there's new applications. So we always want to continue to increase the number of health cadres in the system. Then there's you're in the system and you leave for whatever reason, so we need to replace you immediately. So there are 2 recruitment processes that go on. And we've resolved the exit replacement delay problem. Mr. Governor made sure that as soon as there's a batch of doctors that have left or nurses, that we can replace them without his approval.
Okay.
You know, so that's automatic now. So that has resolved that problem. Okay. And it addresses the morale of the health professionals when what happens, what you just described happens. So what we've been doing is we've been increasing the morale of the medical personnel, first of all, by employing more. Secondly, by rapid exit replacement, by improving their packages, welfare packages. And as you know, the doctors and the nurses all went on some union activity, which were able to meet with them, feel the empathy that they were exhibiting and expressing, and Mr. Governor was very generous, understood what the issues are, and he met almost 100% of their needs.
Okay, so one of the core grounds that I have is when we list our achievements, Lagos is more than Ikeja, VI, you know, like there is a lot of parts in Lagos that is highly uncaptured. We have the riverine areas where you need to take a boat to get there, and we have mothers that are pregnant and have to take a boat to get to proper hospitals if there's a medical emergency that requires more than what the traditional birth attendants can give. We have hospitals across rivers that are not kitted with doctors. They have maybe a few nurses. What are you doing to reach out to those areas, because they are also in Lagos?
Yeah. So, I still need to address the brain drain issue, but I'll come back to it because you've thrown another question at me now. So a third of Lagos is hard to reach, either because it's remote or it's water access limitations. So we have a special project now called, you know, the Riverine Access Program. We've ordered water ambulances. They're being constructed right now, so that, you know, we can also access these areas with medical personnel and bring people from these areas who are having emergencies. So in keeping with the blueprint, I told you we have three models. We have the large, intermediate, and small primary healthcare facility. So really, the backbone of medicine is at the primary healthcare level. 80% of people will present for primary healthcare. Okay, 10–15% will be referred upwards because what they have, they can't be dealt with at the primary healthcare level. So we are pouring a lot of resources into primary healthcare. We want to put one PHC in at least every ward, whether it's riverine, whether it's waterlogged or whatever, and at least have people there posted. And we're going to, you know, devise a strategy where they get hardship allowance because they are moving in and out of very remote areas. And in fact, sometimes it's even dangerous, you know. So we are addressing this access to very difficult terrains in Lagos. People often forget that Lagos is not just island and mainland, and that there are areas of Lagos that are quite remote and quite difficult to access.
Okay, so for me, I always look at the sort of trainings this healthcare professional, especially the nurses, the sort of trainings that they have. And one of the reasons some people don't want to go to the public hospitals is because of how they are treated. You know, some nurses will talk to you anyhow, insult you, raise their voices, like, hey, I'm here for you to give me your service, and then you talk to me like I am a nobody. What are you doing? Well, what is that sort of training that you're giving them to understand that they are there to give us that care, that service, to enable them give that service appropriately? And how have you ensured that their welfare also is encouraging them to give that service that they are working for?
Okay, so I think it's a very complicated issue. You know, what I've just described about improving the morale of the medical personnel is part of it.
Okay.
If the environment in which they work is hospitable, if they have equipment, if they have good packages, if they've got job satisfaction, you know, their morale is boosted. You know, if they're trained properly, then they have the confidence to do what they need to do. So when there are so few of you dealing with hundreds and thousands of patients, you know, you get fatigued. Nobody ever comes into a hospital to give you good news. They come in to give you bad news, you know, and the news can often be very bad. So you have to think about what the psychology of the medical professionals are. So, for example, in COVID, after the third wave, we noticed that the COVID response team were almost they developed a stone mentality, a stone psychology. I mean, naturally, you see people coming in, breathing, gasping for their lives, many of them dying. You see death morning, afternoon, and night. You know, you almost become like a robot. Yeah. You know, and we noticed that in the end of the third wave, and before the fourth wave came in, we put together a very detailed program to look at the psychology of the COVID-19 first responders. And a lot of information came out of that. You know, we developed that with several sister ministries in government, Ministry of Estab, Ministry of Training and Health. And we brought in consultants to do a deep dive as to what was going on in the psychology of our medical professionals. And a lot of that came out that, you know, we need to start paying attention to the mental health and the psychology of caregivers, because caregivers are working, you know, not just with a day-to-day routine. They're dealing with a lot of empathetic situations. They're dealing with a lot of issues. They're dealing with a lot of emotions. They're dealing with death, sickness. So we're working on improving that, improving numbers, environment, training, mental support. And things are improving, we're getting fewer and fewer complaints. Right. You know, honestly, I get some really amazing compliments now in the public sector about how professional our doctors, nurses. Right. Yeah. So I think there's a positive move in the medical environment.
So there are Nigerians, doctors abroad,
yes,
watching you right now, and they're saying, listen, I've lived in America, in London, Canada for 10, 15 years, 20 years. I want to come back home. I want to support the services in like Lagos State. What is on ground for me to come and support? Many of them want to move back home. They want to be like you, live abroad. And I feel like, listen, I can do more here. Yes. I've made enough money. Is there some kind of an enabling environment that you're creating for those who want to partner with Lagos State from abroad? So
this is the other side, this is the flip of the brain drain question. So we now have what we call a brain gain. All right, okay. So we make doctors and nurses and other medical allied professionals. They work in Nigeria, they do NYSC, they spend a bit of time, and the pull is too much. So they leave. Okay, so we feel that we've lost a brain, all right? And we have for a while. But I don't think that there are any Nigerians who want to live perpetually outside of Nigeria. There might be a few. But by and large, most Nigerians want to operate at home. And they'll be out there, they're unhappy, they're saying, I want to come home, but there's nothing to come home to. You know, every time I've tried to come home, it just didn't work, and I just go back to where life is easier. So what we are doing in Lagos is to accelerate this brain gain strategy. Okay. So the government, in collaboration with the private sector, we're now diversifying specialist care in Lagos. So it's going to do two things. It's going to reverse the medical tourism out of Nigeria, and it's going to create these modern specialist units where doctors in the diaspora now, and we're specifically targeting doctors in the diaspora, to come back to Lagos where we're providing these ultra-modern facilities where so example, we're building a smart short-stay surgery in Lagos Island General Hospital, right on Marina. We're building a comprehensive oncology or cancer center in Lagos. We're doing the Infectious Disease Research Institute. We're building a 500-bed psychiatric hospital in Ketu. 500-bed is the biggest.
I think in Lagos we need at least
7,000.
Yes, right. No, but we have to start somewhere. There isn't anything at the moment. So, you know, there'll be psychiatrists out there saying, wow, you know, 500-bed psychiatric hospital, yes, you know, I want to be part of that. They'll come home. Infectious Disease Research Institute, we never want to be in a situation where Ebola or COVID or Lassa breaks our economy again. You know, we managed to hold the Lagos State economy together. Business was moving even during our 4 waves, and that was Mr. Governor's mandate. Commissioner of Health, keep the economy open, and that's what we did, you know. And so
you did well during COVID, Cham.
Yes,
we must give that to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, Toko had a question.
Yes, so I wanted to ask you about the health, because we talk about health basically focusing on the giving of the health services in the hospitals, but it covers more than that, because there's preventive medicine. We need to ensure that we get more information to citizens within Lagos State to avoid them having health conditions that will bring them into the hospital. There's the research and development perspective, where we are beneficiaries of the research done by Chinese in providing artemisinin, and we might probably have, well, reading research about bitter leaf from Oyimbos, and we have bitter leaf here. So what is Lagos State government doing to create that? I don't expect the government should be doing business, but having that welcoming hands towards the health sector to provide enabling environment for that partnership to support research and then the part of preventive medicine with information being put out?
So this is a really important area, and it's what we call, and it's a major strategy of Mr. Sanwo-Olu's government. It's called the One Health paradigm. So if you look at the themes agenda, you see that health and environment as pillar number 2. And in fact, as Mr. Governor was defining his manifesto for this dispensation, it's quite amazing. He didn't know COVID was coming. But you can see it's the visionary leadership intuition that put health and environment together. And that's a World Health paradigm. It says you need to look after health in a holistic way. And you can't say, I'm a healthy human being living in an unhealthy environment.
Cannot work.
Or I'm a healthy human being eating unhealthy food. It doesn't work. You are as healthy as the food you eat and the environment in which you live in. So if you're breathing in bad air, if you're drinking bad water, if you're stressed by getting from your house to work and back, you're driving through fumes, lots of noise, there's noise pollution. So the One Health paradigm is looking, and if you go back to Europe, for example, when there were cholera outbreaks all over the place, what did they do? They fixed the water system. They fixed the rivers. They fixed the electricity, So if you start paying attention to the environment, then you get less people coming in with dysentery, fewer people coming in with malaria, fewer people coming in with hypertension. People are eating better, so they won't get diabetes. So prevention is absolutely big return on investment.
Yes.
And that's what the One Health paradigm is doing. So the One Health paradigm brings Ministry of Health, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Agric, Ministry of Physical Planning, and Ministry of Justice together.
Brainstorm
But
together.
add Ministry of Transport because of the go slow.
Oh gosh, YK.
That's causes stress, yes.
Well, so the go slow is caused by physical planning, So if you build satellite cities and if you plan Lagos well, then the transport system, and of course the transport system is creating multiple opportunities. My colleague is working very hard on multiple transport medium, and you can hear Mr. Governor talking about the blue and the red line and creating water transportation and things like that. So holistically, we're looking at making Lagos a more comfortable place, less toxic, the environment.
Let me ask you something that is outside health. Because when we hear commissioners from Governor Sanwo-Olu come on this table and we just listen to them and you just feel like, he's like, they know how to talk, and then he's going to go and pick you from. So when you have meetings, what are your meetings like? What is like? What kind of things do you understand each other's language? I mean, are there politicians amongst you, or do you all sound like you?
No. So when we meet, we talk about, what, for example, would Morayo
Sarcasm.
That was good. That's why you got it back. Morayo is the queen of sarcasm. She
Okay, but I'm glad.
But cabinet is made up of all kinds of people. There are technocrats, there are politicians, there are strategists, there are thinkers, So you know, everybody plays a key role.
Yeah.
Because I don't know much about politics, but, you know, I know about
Your job.
strategy, you know, so, but I have to know about politics. So, you know, we get schooled in that, and then those who are pure politicians get schooled in some.
Yeah.
So it works as a brilliant cabinet, you know, it works very well. And of course, Mr. Governor is a fantastic leader. You know, he listens.
Right.
And he makes provisions. He will not say he knows everything. So he's been through crash courses on biosecurity and COVID.
Wow.
And even now, I don't need to talk much about COVID anymore. Mr. Governor knows it all. So my job's done.
Yes.
So COVID, is COVID over?
COVID?
I think so.
Now, there's a better way to ask that question.
Which
is the COVID crisis over?
Okay.
So the COVID crisis is over, and it should be over after 4 waves. I mean, if we haven't learned how to manage COVID after 4 waves, then
But we all haven't been vaccinated, though.
Who hasn't?
We need to increase
I
vaccination.
have been vaccinated. I haven't had a
We've all
booster.
been.
But
But
there are a lot of people out there that haven't been vaccinated.
You've been vaccinated naturally. You had it 4 times.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that is another form of
It's built in
what do you call it,
that
herd immunity,
Yes.
where more people have gotten it along the way, and
Yeah, it doesn't
they're safe.
protect
What should we
you ultimately, but if you've had COVID 2 or 3 times, you know, and each wave goes through Lagos like wildfire, you know, and it's caused by different variants. So with each wave, we've seen, unless the variant is particularly aggressive, we've seen that we've been able to manage it easier. So the vaccines plus the natural infections is what's helping us manage the situation.
Let me let BC have the final
Yes,
question.
so, you know, Lagos is working really fine. We see all of these policies, we see the strategies, we see it.
Are we
live
working
here.
fine?
Yeah, I think
Well,
we
thank
are
you
compared
very
to
much.
many
That's
other
right.
states. And my worry is everybody wants to come to Lagos. So how do you liaise and, you know, have conversations and discussions with governors of other states to pick up and also do better so that their people will stay there?
How do you even
so that we're not-
support them?
Yes, support them so that we're not overpopulated in Lagos. That's
Yeah,
one.
but we,
And what are your future
how many of us are from Lagos?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to come to Lagos. Lagos is the new America, so to speak.
at least in
So
Nigeria.
what are you
how
doing
do you-
to support
yeah,
other
support
states
other,
as a health
governors?
commissioner?
So you're throwing me into the political arena.
Try, sir.
He says he's a strategist.
So yes, you can be the victim of your own success. You know, the better you get, the more you will have to cope with. So what Lagos does is it forms an alliance with its immediate neighbors to form a buffer zone.
Okay.
Right, so the states around us, Ogun State, Oyo State, Osun State, Ekiti State, you know, we need to work with them so that when the movement of people is coming south and they get to Ibadan, for example, I say, wow, Ibadan's not bad. Why do I need to go and suffer in Lagos? You know, or they go to Lagos and they remember Ibadan. I say, oh, I'm out of here, you know, and they go back to Ibadan. So we need to distribute, you know, the migration burden across the buffer zone of Lagos. But Lagos is always reaching out to states across Nigeria to help in any way we can. We've received numerous courtesy visits. We've been to many states.
We have to wrap up, unfortunately.
Like, we finished the time.
We have squeezed the time. In fact, I have to thank my
You have to
director.
come back again.
Because somebody's asking me here, the person said, please ask the commissioner if when will we stop wearing masks in Lagos? When will it be outlawed?
We're not wearing masks.
So please,
The malls, they've not. So.
please,
He's not wearing mask now.
he's not wearing masks. So please, you don't have to wear
At
masks.
least normally you will see it under his chin.
So
He's
that's
not
the
wearing
answer to you,
I have it
Auntie
on standby,
Shola
but I don't need
Adeshokon.
it.
Don't wear mask. That is all we can take on the show today. I hope you've learned a few things that we have. We're going to bring you back, sir.
No
Because
problem.
there are still more issues. There are people crying. When they go to the hospital, they send them back because they don't have police reports.
Yeah.
You see having people, the negligence, you know, what prosecution
Private
of
hospital
you know,
monitoring.
So there's a
Abroad
lot
to
of
monitor
things we need. So we'll bring you
private
back over for a
hospitals
second
very
show
well.
Sure.
to help us discuss and tackle that.
You will be from
Have a
90
great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Okay.